1. d4. The legendary Yugoslav grandmaster Svetozar Gligoric, a renowned expert in the king's Indian with white, opens with the queen's pawn, setting the stage for a deep strategic battle. 1. Nf6. Robert James Fischer, the world's foremost practitioner of the king's Indian, responds with his trademark move, ready to enter the complex and imbalanced positions where he thrives. 2. c4. Gligoric applies more pressure to the center, creating the classic pawn structure that will lead to a tense and complex struggle for control of the key central squares. 2. g6. Fischer confirms his intentions, preparing to fianchetto his dark-squared bishop. This is the heart of the king's Indian strategy, aiming for dynamic counterplay against white's spatial advantage. 3. nc3. A logical and powerful developing move. Gligoric brings his knight to its ideal square, reinforcing his central grip and preparing to meet the challenge of the king's Indian head-on. 3. bg7. The king's Indian bishop arrives on its iconic post. From g7, this piece will become a strategic monster, controlling the long diagonal and serving as the engine of black's counterattacking plans. 4. e4. The classical setup. Gligoric builds a formidable pawn center, seizing a significant space advantage and posing the main strategic question to Fischer's chosen defense. For d6, Fischer reinforces his central foothold, completing the basic king's Indian structure. He is now ready to begin the process of undermining white's imposing center. 5. nf3. Gligoric continues with harmonious and principled development, bringing his knight to its best square and preparing to complete his control over the center of the board. 5. Fischer quickly castles his king to safety, removing it from the center before launching his characteristic assault against white's powerful but potentially vulnerable pawn structure. 6. b2. A solid and flexible developing move. Gligoric prepares to castle his own king and keeps his options open for various plans in the center and on the queen side. 6. e5. The thematic challenge. Fischer strikes at the heart of white's center, creating immediate tension and forcing Gligoric to make a critical decision about the pawn structure. 7. Gligoric castles his king, completing his development. He chooses the most solid and respected continuation, entering the main theoretical battlegrounds of the classical king's Indian. 7. nc6. Fischer develops his knight, adding more pressure to the d4 pawn. The clash of two of the world's greatest experts in this opening is now fully underway. 8. d5. Gligoric locks the center, a defining moment that dictates the strategy for the rest of the game. The battle now becomes a race. White will attack on the queen side, black on the king side. 8. n7. The knight retreats to its ideal post in this closed structure. From e7, it supports the king side, prepares to join the coming attack, and keeps an eye on the center. 9. n1. The modern and most challenging knight maneuver. Gligoric prepares to support his queenside pawn break with c5 and gets his knight out of the way of Fischer's impending kingside pawn storm. 9. nd7. A key and multi-purpose knight move from Fischer. He prepares to support his f5 pawn break and keeps an eye on the c5 square, preparing to meet white's queenside ambitions. 10. nd3. The white knight arrives at its ideal post. From d3, it supports the queenside advance and controls key central squares, serving as the fulcrum for white's entire strategy. 10. f5. The battle begins. Fischer launches the thematic king's Indian pawn break, starting his kingside attack and seeking to rip open lines against the white king's fortress. 11. h5. Gligoric chooses to release the central tension, capturing the pawn. This opens the f-file but also allows black's knight a powerful outpost in the center. 11. nxf5. Fischer recaptures with the knight, placing it on a magnificent central square. This piece will become a major thorn in white's side and a key part of the kingside attack. 12. f3. A solid and important prophylactic move. Gligoric controls the key g4 square, preventing any further advance of black's pawns and preparing to challenge the dominant black knight. 12. nf6. Fischer brings another knight into the attack, preparing to challenge white's central control and adding more firepower to his impending kingside assault. 13. nf2. The knight retreats to a more defensive square, preparing to meet the coming storm on the kingside. Gligoric is playing carefully, aware of the dangers. 13. Nd4, the knight lands on its dream square. From this powerful outpost, it restricts white's pieces, attacks key weaknesses, and becomes the centerpiece of black's attacking formation. 14. Fe4, Reshevsky immediately challenges the intruder, bringing his own knight to the center to try and neutralize the power of Fischer's well-placed piece. The central battle intensifies. 14. Nh5, the classic King's Indian knight maneuver. Fischer swings his knight to the flank, preparing to leap into the f4 square to create decisive threats against the white king. 15. Bg5, Gligoric develops his bishop with a pin, a standard method for creating counterplay and disrupting the coordination of black's powerful attacking pieces. 15. Qd7, Fischer calmly sidesteps the pin, moving his queen to a safer and more flexible square from where it can support both the kingside attack and central operations. 16. G3, a very committal and risky decision by Gligoric. He prevents the knight from coming to f4, but this pawn move creates permanent and fatal light square weaknesses around his king. 16. H6, Fischer immediately challenges the white bishop, forcing it to move and gaining more time and space on the kingside for his own attack to build. 17. B3, the bishop retreats, but its influence has been blunted. Fischer's kingside attack is now gaining momentum, while white's queenside plan seems too slow. 17. C5, a powerful pawn break that challenges white in the center and on the queenside. Fischer opens new fronts, stretching white's defenses to the limit. 18. Bxd4, Gligoric decides to release the tension by trading pieces, but this only serves to activate black's other forces and clarify his advantage. 18. Exd4, the recapture creates a passed d-pawn for black. While it can be a weakness, in this position it is a major strength, cramping white's pieces and creating threats. 19. Nb5, Gligoric's knight finds a powerful blockading square, hoping to neutralize the passed pawn and create counterplay. However, Fischer has a stunning reply prepared. 19. A6, Fischer immediately kicks the knight, unafraid of the tactical complications. He has seen deeper into the position and is ready to unleash a tactical storm. 20. At Nbxd6, Gligoric captures the pawn, believing he is winning material, but he has walked directly into a brilliant and deeply calculated combination from Fischer. 20. D3, a breathtaking pawn sacrifice. This incredible move deflects the white queen from the defense of the kingside and activates the monster bishop on g7. 21. Qxd3, Gligoric is forced to accept the sacrifice, but his queen is now lured to a square where it is a bystander to the decisive action on the kingside. 21. Bd4+, the point of the sacrifice. The bishop lands on d4 with a devastating check, completely paralyzing the white position and creating unstoppable threats. 22. Kg2, the king is forced to a very awkward square, where it is now a direct target for black's beautifully coordinated attacking pieces. 22. Nxg3, another stunning sacrifice. Fischer gives up his knight to completely shatter the pawn cover around the white king. This is attacking chess of the highest order. 23. Nxc8, Gligoric tries to create chaos by capturing the rook, but the material balance is irrelevant. The safety of the white king is the only thing that matters. 23. Nxf1, the tactical sequence continues. Black's knight captures the rook, and the white king is now completely naked and defenseless against the coming storm. 24. Nb6, a desperate attempt to harass the black queen, but it is a futile gesture. Fischer has calculated everything to perfection. 24. Qc7, a brilliant queen move that simultaneously attacks the knight and prepares to capture the loose rook on f1, maintaining the momentum of the attack. 25. Rxf1, Gligoric is forced to move his rook, but the damage is already done. His king is fatally exposed, and his pieces are completely uncoordinated. 25. Qxb6, the smoke begins to clear. Fischer has regained his material, and the result of his brilliant combination is a decisive attack against the helpless white king. 26. B4, a desperate attempt to create counterplay on the queenside, but it is far too slow. The game will be decided by the direct attack on the king. 26. Qxb4, Fischer coolly grabs another pawn, confident that his attack is unstoppable and that any counterplay from white is completely irrelevant. 27. RB1, Gligoric activates his rook, his last active piece, hoping to create some threats of his own, but Fischer's queen easily sidesteps the danger. 27. QA5, the queen finds a safe and active square, from where it keeps an eye on the white king and prepares to support the final, decisive assault. 28. NXC5, Gligoric is forced to trade knights to relieve some of the pressure, but this only serves to simplify the position into a clearly winning attack for black. 28. QXC5, the recapture brings the queen to an even more powerful attacking square. All of black's remaining pieces are now aimed directly at the white king. 29. QXG6+, the white queen invades with a check, creating threats of its own. The game has become an incredibly sharp, double-edged struggle where both kings are in peril. 29. BG7, the only move, but a good one. The bishop blocks the check and prepares to shield its king from the coming storm, while maintaining the pressure. 30. RxB7, the white rook joins the attack, creating a threat of mate on the back rank. The position is balanced on a razor's edge, a testament to both players' skill. 30. QD4, a fantastic centralizing move for the queen. It simultaneously defends against the mating threat and creates new, deadly threats of its own against the white king. 31. BD3, Gligoric brings his final piece to the defense, desperately trying to hold his position together against Fischer's relentless pressure. 31. RF4, the rook joins the attack with decisive effect. This powerful move creates an unstoppable threat of mate on h4 and forces a draw. 32. QE6+, the only move to prevent immediate loss. Gligoric is forced to start a sequence of checks to save the game from the brink of disaster. 32. KH8, the king is forced to move, but there is no escape from the perpetual check. Fischer cannot avoid the repetition without allowing a counterattack. 33. QG6, Gligoric repeats the check, and since neither side can safely deviate from this sequence, the players agreed to a draw. A spectacular and fitting end to a brilliant fight.